Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming, and what I've decided to do, hopefully quickly here, is I'm going to close all this stuff that I've got open first of all. Then I'm going to go into my folder where I've got my front end stuff, and I've got BMI01 and BMI02. I'm going to create another one. So in fact, I'm going to take the BMI02 that I have, which basically is empty right now, and I'm going to make it BMI03. Then I'm going to take the BMI01 and make a copy of it. And after I make a copy of it, you may have already guessed this, I'm going to change this one to 02. Okay, so now BMI01 and BMI02 are identical. Okay, so let's open this up, and I will, if anything opens, I'll close it. So File, Open File, let's go to BMI02, and let's open up all three files. There's the index. I don't even need to open the CSS. There's the JavaScript. I think that'll be enough. All right. So in here, what I'm going to try to add, we're going to see if this works, is I'm going to add a button. On click equal, I'm just going to call it main. Oops. And I'm going to just say start program. Now, I'm going to run it. It's not going to work because I don't have a main yet. But I do want to run it and see if I've got a button there. Okay, it's still running the old BMI app. Not sure why. I actually do know why, but that's okay. All right, let's do this. So let's get over here and let's write a main. So I'm going to leave all this stuff that I've got in here. I'm going to leave all my constants, but before my variables, I'm going to come in and write a main. So function main. Right now it does nothing. And I'm going to have another function that's going to be called input height. Then I'm going to have another, Then I'm going to have another function that's going to be called input weight. Then I'm going to have another function that's going to be called calculate BMI. And then I'm going to have another function that's going to be called calculate BMI status. Then I'm going to have another function that's going to be called display individual stats. And then I'm going to have two more functions. One that's going to be called run program. Maybe I won't even put that. Maybe I'll leave that in here. Display final totals. All right. So all this stuff that's in here, I do want to use it. So you have to trust me here. So this is going to say let height equal input height. Let weight equal input weight. Let BMI equal calculate BMI, and we're going to pass into that the height and the weight. And let BMI status equal calculate BMI status, and that will need the BMI. All right, so we've got this. Let height equal this. And then we will, whoops, sorry. Then next we will be calling, is there a display individual stats, and that will need the height, the weight, the BMI, and the BMI status. I have to change this around just a little bit in a second. All right, so all right, let me, it's going to look weird for a second, but I'm literally doing this all off the top of my head because I wanted to show you the difference between writing a program with some structure and one with no structure. All right, so hold on just for a second. This is going to stay at 0. This is going to stay at 0. This is going to stay at 0.0. This is going to be the empty string. Oops. Doesn't look right now, but it will be in a second. There we go. All right, now let's get rid of the lets in here, and in here, and in here, and in here. All right. So we also have, I've got height, I've got weight, I've got BMI and BMI status. Good. We need run again. And we need that to be true. All right. Okay, I'm cleaning this up, so don't worry about it. Again, I'm trying to show you some structured programming. Not doing a great job, but I'm trying to anyway. So, all right. Now, grab everything I did for the height. And that's going to go in here. Grab everything I did for the weight. I could just copy it again, but I'm not going to do it like that. And I'm going to put that in here. All right, calculate the BMI. That's going to be in here. All right, calculate the BMI status. That's going to be in here. Display the individual stats. That's going to be in here. Display the final totals. That's going to be in here. All right, like I said, this is a work in progress, so I'm going to grab these. And I'm going to put them up here. All right. And I could run this as a separate function. Probably should, but for now I'm just going to throw it back in here. Let's see this. X. Let's see. Try it again. X. Get right here. Control V. All right. Almost got it ready. And I did it way too fast, so I'm sure something will be screwed up, but it's okay. All right. So this is the inputted height. And remember, it goes from 12 through 96. This will be the inputted weight, and that'll be 1 through 777. This will be the BMI. And again, we've already wrote down what that formula was. This is the BMI status. So that'll be underweight, optimal, weight, etc. How's that? All right. So we've got height equals input height, so we have to return height to this function. So here, once we get down to the bottom here, once we fall out of this while loop, we have a valid height, so we can return it. Once we run out of here, we'll have a valid weight, so we can return it. All right. Here, instead of saying BMI equals, we're just going to return this. And we would do the same thing here. We would just say return. All right, so we're calculating the status. I am going to make those counters global, and you'll see why in a minute. So here I'm going to return the BMI status. This can just say let output string equal nothing. Then we'll display the results. So we will need to pass into this the height, and we don't need to call it. We can just go H for height, W for weight, BMI, and status. It doesn't have to have the same name. It could. It doesn't hurt it to do that, but it's a little less typing for us. All right. These final totals, they will not have to be passed in because they're global. We don't need this anymore. We do need these. And like I said, they're going to be global, meaning that we're going to put them at the top of the program. Those were our constants. And again, we will have here some variables. Okay. Now, believe it or not, I'm just about finished. But I do want to spend a little bit of time going over this with you and telling you what I did, why I did it, etc., etc. Okay. Well, this is a function, of course, and it needs, there we got display final totals. That looks good. So this will be let. I like the way this looks. All right. Okay. That should be okay. That should be okay. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. I think everything that's in here is okay. All right. Now, these in here, they're set up in main. Essentially, they are global, but height knows, main knows about height, and so does input height. But weight doesn't know anything about input height, and input weight doesn't know anything about height, and input height doesn't know anything about weight. BMI doesn't, it knows height and weight. BMI status knows BMI, but it doesn't know height or weight. All right? So what we tried to do was we tried to run this program and just run it. I don't know, is it a decent program? I don't know what you'd even say. Let's see. Now something is wrong in here the way I've got it. Button on click equal main. Start program button. It's been a while since I've done this. Done it like this. All right. I'm going to try to move this up to the top, and I don't think it's going to matter in my program, to be honest with you. So let's see, on click equal main. Button on click. File. Save all. Run. Okay, there's run start program. Good. Okay, it looks pretty familiar, I think. We put nothing in there. Still is it telling us if I say hello. Yeah, still doesn't like that. If I give it a valid number, it's good. If I leave weight empty, still doesn't like that. Something, or how about something out of range? -4. Okay, 200. Well, it doesn't like that, so it stopped. That's okay. So the point is that with what we have in here now, this worked, this worked. So we went down to calculate BMI. We'd have to pass in height and weight. Let's just call them H and W. W, H, H, W, H. Let's see if that changed anything. Yeah, we still got the other one open, sorry. All right, let's just put invalid stuff. You already saw the invalid stuff work. So 72, 200, still doesn't like it. Let's give me an error here. Add on click. Uncaught error. Add on click in line 30. Okay, I'm getting an uncaught error right here, so it doesn't like the way that I wrote this. I don't know what's wrong with it. Oh, we call that main. Function main, yeah. Checking quickly my curly braces here to see if I missed any. That looked right, that looked right. That looks right. That looks right. That looks right. As does that. So that doesn't appear to be the problem. So let's see. Let me go to... Let's go to our... I don't want the script. Button, class, button. I don't need to give these IDs or classes because I'm not doing anything special. That's what I want, just like this. Yeah, okay, so it is set up correctly. Okay, I'm going to get this line out of here right away, but I just want to double check something here. Click equals the task. And, but yeah, syntactically it is correct. Uncaught error at main, line 59. Ah, calculate. Let's try this again. Start the program. 72, 100. Still getting an error. Okay, it's gone further down to line 119 and in line 60. Status. Calculate BMI. Did I spell it right down here? Calculate BMI. Calculate BMI. That looks correct. Oh, the BMI status needs the BMI. So let S equals nothing. Change all these to S. You can call them whatever you want. I'm just showing you that you can call it something else. It's totally fine to do. All right, and it didn't like 119 either. So it was down here. So hopefully we fixed it. On it. Oh, you get to watch me debug. 154 and 61. Stats, display individual stats. Okay, 119. 154. Ah, no. Oh, it's got to be a W. Looky, looky. Okay, it's all working. Now, one more thing I want to do, and then I'm going to explain everything to you, and that is I want to see if I can take, let's see, main is supposed to be what's called a driver, so it's not supposed to do any of the work. It's supposed to call routines that'll do the work. All right, so again, okay, so we're going to change this to run again equal, we'll call it another time. We should not need to pass anything into another time. Okay, this will be a let. All right, if this works, we now have taken this program and totally modularized it. If you see, I don't know what that means. That's what we'll talk about in just a second. 100. Okay, it works. So what we have done is, rather than writing multiple routines, we are writing one function that held everything, not even a function. We've now broken this program down into parts. This is still the same. Now, the constants are global, and the reason that they're global is constants are set up so you aren't typically, in most programming languages at least, able to change them when the program is running. All right, I don't even know now if I'm using this OOR height and OOR weight. I could say this. Display alert OR height, and then for the weight we could do an alert OR weight. You run it again just so you can see the difference. Now if I put in something that's wrong, so I'll leave it blank. Height must be between 12 and 96 inches, and then it asks for it again. So if I say hello, again I get height must be between 12 and 96 inches. And I should get the same thing now for weight, except it's the weight message. Okay, so what we have done here is, rather than having one big routine that does everything, we've broken each thing down so they're doing their own thing, so to speak. So in other words, main is a driver. It's not doing any of the work. It's calling routines to do the work. So it's setting the height by calling input height. And it's doing the exact same thing we did before. It's prompting for the height. It checks, and if it's either non-numeric or out of range, it gives that alert now, and then it reprompts again. Eventually it falls out of here with a valid height, so it's going to return that. That height that it returns gets stuffed into here. Weight then does the same thing. Then we've got a valid height and a valid weight, so we calculate the BMI based on those heights and weights. And you can call them anything you want in here. All right. So I just changed it so it's a little easier to read. And just to prove that the other one works, let's comment this one out. And let's uncomment this one. Just to be sure that that works okay the way I told it to you. Then we got to do the status. The status needs the BMI. We've got to use the exact names here when we're calling them. But when we are in the routine, we can call them anything we want. So notice in here, I used S for status instead of BMI status. Okay. And then we print out the individual stats. We have to pass in the height, the weight, the BMI, and the BMI status. But notice in here, we called them HW, BMI, and status. Okay. Then when we get all done with that, we ask if they want to run the program again, and it's the same logic. I just pulled it out of there. So run again must return a Boolean, either true or false. So what this says is if you entered anything that was not a Y for the first character, you return false. Otherwise, you'll return true. Finally, when you fall all the way out, you print out your final statistics. So you now have two different versions of a simple body mass index or BMI application. In the next video, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do for a couple more days, but in the next video we're going to take this and create something, well, I'll say something better out of it. Alright, I may have even shown you this already. I don't remember if I did or not, but let me show you the type of thing that we're going to create. Alright. I think this is the one. Yeah. All right. Looks a little bit nicer, and I'll play with it a little bit. This might not be its final, its final way that it looks. But again, like we looked at before, 72, 111, calculate. There's your BMI and your category, and you clear the form. Now, I don't have it right now that it's giving final totals. I may do that. I may just leave it the way it is. But we'll see you soon. Thanks.